Hello, everyone. This is Lance Mikkel from Refocus on Happiness. How to get your ex back? By getting over your ex first. Sure, I have a lot of people that right away when they see this here, they think to themselves, oh my God, if I get over my ex, I'm not going to want them back anymore. Well, there is absolutely some fucking truth to that here. The truth is, at the end of the day, your ability to feel great is not a concept. It's a conditioning. It's a skill. Your ability to feel amazing is not dependent on whether or who is in your life or not in your life. Happiness is a skill, or more accurately, is conditioning. At the end of the day, remember the ability to attract and keep people is not intellectual, it's emotional. If someone does not enjoy being around you, then it doesn't matter what kind of techniques you have. You have all the techniques and ideas in the world, but if you're not pleasant to be around, who is going to want to work on that relationship? Nobody. So the truth is, the only way you can get anyone back is if you get yourself back first. You need to understand that happiness is not a concept. It's a skill, and no mindset or fake it till you make it stuff is going to work in this place here. And let me tell you something here. The only reason why someone even thinks about not working directly with me is because they're confused. If you personally have had times in your life where you felt really good or happy, but that was because you're in a great relationship, things are going really well, your business is going really well, make no mistake, my friend, that's not a skill. That's not a concept. You simply were feeling good simply because you had a favorable life environment. Anyone can feel good when they're in Disney World. Anyone can feel really happy when they got a promotion to work. Anyone can be on top of the world when everything's going their way and they're in a nice, beautiful, blissful relationship. Big deal. The question is, how do you feel now? How do you feel when your life is an emotional roller coaster? Because if you can't feel great regardless of your external world, you never had this skill in the first place. That's why this is so frustrating for you here. Because when you look at your past, you look at times you're really happy, you were only happy because you were living in a favorable environment. That's not real. That's like you being on the bench press, trying to bench press 300 pounds, but having two spotters lifting the weight for you. That's not real strength. But if you want to actually shift the odds in your favor and have a chance to get it back, you have to address the emotional core, because obviously you're going to have certain conversations with them. Obviously, you're going to try and work things out or have a nice time, but you can't speak how you don't feel. You can't fake it till you make it, my friend. If you don't feel so good, then ultimately, in the day, why would they want to work on a relationship with you? If you're not enjoyable to be around, who wants to work on that one? And that's why your counselor or therapist is not ever going to fix it. You ever notice all they do is ask you questions? Hey, how do you feel? Hey, what was your childhood like? If all they're doing is asking questions, they're just diagnosing things. They're not actually fixing it. Let me repeat that for you, for some of you who are in emotional fog. If all they're doing is asking questions, how do you feel? How'd that make you feel? What was it like when you were a kid? If they're asking questions, that would be like you going to the car dealership, the car repair place, and having them tell you what's wrong. They're not telling you what's right. They're not telling you how to fix it. If you're not working with somebody who can actually fix it, then you're wasting your fucking time. And there's a very good reason why all of your relationships have ultimately ended in disappointment. And I would highly consider, for some of you going through a lot of pain here, be honest with yourself. If you're 40, 50, 60, let me ask you a question, my friend. When was the last time your life had a loving, beautiful, long-term committed relationship that didn't ultimately end in disaster? And even if you left one time and they left one time because of this or that, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, there's only one common denominator in a string of failed relationships. Who do you think that person is? It's not them. It's you. You really want to keep staying with the counselors? You really want to keep reading your way to the winner's circle?
A lot of people talk about mindsets and beliefs. That's not really what they're looking for. If you think about it, how are you going to have a mindset when you feel like shit? How's that going to work out? Your ability to execute is a conditioning. It's the way you feel. The conditioning is actually what allows you to execute a mindset or execute a belief. Beliefs and mindsets alone, without the conditioning, without that energy, without that fuel, they're worthless. So at the end of the day, what everyone really wants is a conditioning. And again, that's a skill, that's a process, that's not a concept. But when you feel great, it's a whole different level, not just for your relationships, but for your entire life. So let's kind of close up here. Two most valuable resources: energy and emotional states. When you feel great, you speak great. When you feel great, you just execute at a completely different level. That's what makes all your techniques actually executable. And if any of you are dealing with stuff where you're trying to get, a job back, a business back, relationship back, you first have to get you back. And again, to get you back, that's conditioning. When you get you back first, and you're now at this level, people want to line up with you. Think about it. A lot of you are dealing with breakups, and you're kind of in a rut, you're in a fog. No one wants to be around you. And the decision to be in a relationship is an emotional decision. It's not logical. You can't take a PowerPoint presentation and say, oh, you're going to want to be around me because of A, B, and C. It doesn't work like that. People either want to be around you or they don't, based on how they feel when they're around you. So if you have a relationship that's not going so well, you can have all the concepts in the world, but if you're not enjoyable to be around, good luck with that. That's not going to work out very well. You can have all the best qualities in the world, but if someone doesn't enjoy their experience with you, that's not going to work out too well. But to get yourself back there, you can't concept your way there. That's a conditioning. That's your ability to control the way you feel, okay? So again, I'll kind of close on this note here. Steve Martin has a great phrase. He says, be so good at what you do, people cannot ignore you. I'm going to show you I'm going to make it so obvious what is available to you when you actually finally address the core. And by the way, on that note, again, this is a biological process. It allows you to rewire, recondition your brain like you recondition a muscle. I got doctors to do my program. Why do you think that is? A lot of you might have heard the idea of neuroplasticity, brain cells that fire together to wire together, but this is a true practical experience, allowing you to recondition, rewire your brain like you'd recondition muscles. Same thing. And again, it allows you to keep moving at higher levels. But anyway, so bottom line is, that is what addresses the core. That's what allows you to take your relationships and your life to levels you ultimately want to go. Anyway, enjoy it. I'm gonna make this so obvious for you in the end part of this video here, where you see a bunch of people that are just like you, same situations. At the end of the day, no offense to you guys, but your situation is not as unique as you think it is. You have a brain that is capable of incredible things if you give it the right process, the right condition, the right stimulus. You have no idea what you're capable of. And again, at the end of the day, everything you've done is because you want to feel a certain way. But to feel a certain way consistently, that's a conditioning process, and that's why you're going to want to address the core. So enjoy the video. Talk to you guys soon. Take care.
I would say transformative would be like an understatement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, the most interesting thing is, I think this kind of stuff finds people when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like it accelerated the transformation process for me, the spiritual,
Mm-hmm.
the mental, psychological. It just accelerated that progression at such a rapid rate. I probably would have spent, Lance, honestly, I probably would have spent 2, 3, maybe even more years just getting to halfway where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to describe it is, it's like you're almost getting like an injection of steroids.
Mm-hmm.
And you're bulking up so fast. And what I mean by that is the amount of like progress you make mentally on recovering or soul searching, whatever you want to call it. It's like being put on a super like natural highway almost. That's the best way to explain, because you're taking all of the stuff that you normally would go through in life, but you're like condensing it all, right? And you're kind of spoon feeding it in a very systematic manner.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes like, it becomes like a repetitive problem, which is really important, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's, and that's, I mean, it's really godsend. For me, it was, at least. I wouldn't have been anywhere near where I'm at right now, mentally, physically. Even where I'm at right now, I'm fucking Mexico, living in some really cool hippie town, middle of nowhere, But that's just a reflection of, and I would have never done this even before the program, what I'm doing now, Yeah, my life has changed. I can't.
Yeah.
Nothing really else to say. Like, yes, it's amazing.
Go to refocusonhappiness.com. What you want to do is you want to click the button at the top, contact Lance. Very, very easy form. When you go there, you'll put your name, your last name, your email address, and your phone number. And I will get in touch with you in just a few days, okay? Again, Steve Martin has a great phrase. He says, be so good at what you do, people cannot ignore you. If you scroll down, you'll see testimonials from psychologists, doctors, zillions and zillions and zillions of past clients, including medical directors, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, I'm making this so obvious for you, what I represent for you, what I believe. The only reason you would not do this is if you're a glutton for punishment. So yeah, feel free to take a good look around. Again, I'm gonna make it very clear what I represent for you if this is something you're serious about, okay? Awesome. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
It's about trusting yourself. And here's the way to bring it down to the most basic level. Once you know what you want, just repeat this phrase to yourself every day. You ready for it? I don't care what you say, I care what you do. Now it's all simple. And I'm very excited. And as soon as you say, I'm going to believe you, as soon as you show me something different, I'm going to believe you the very first time. That's it. You make it simple. Not so complicated.
I was sick and tired of hurting, and I needed to change. I had to physically, mentally, and emotionally change quickly, or it wasn't going to be pretty. And so you and I talked, and we started that night, and it's been nothing but an uphill, amazing journey to the top of the mountain to look around and say,
Yeah.
I feel pretty damn good.
Frustrated is not even the right word.
Mhm.
I would call it a pretty severe clinical depression.
Okay.
Anxiety, just self-esteem down in the dumps and blaming myself, asking myself, what's wrong with me? Why am I so reject worthy? What am I not enough of? Not smart enough, not pretty enough, not educated enough, not responsible, and I kept going down the list, and this was my rehearsal. And it was bad. I spent a lot of time crying to the point that my eyes were puffy and sore, and I was alone a lot of the time and isolating a lot. If anybody knows the symptoms of clinical depression, I hit everything but suicidality, literally. Not thinking, feeling, believing that I was not worthy because I felt that if somebody had basically thrown me away, that I was the kind of person that's worth throwing away. So it was like that.
How would you compare yourself? How do you feel about your life, your relationship, how would you compare where you're at now versus how you were just 6 weeks ago?
It's hard to believe.
That's a good way of putting it.
It's like a freaking miracle. And I know it's not a miracle because I worked for it, but you said what I thought was ridiculous. You said there'd be a Bonnie 5.0.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like that, like different person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any of that shit going on anymore. There isn't crying. There isn't a waste of time. There's a really long, everything you promised has come to fruition, and more things I didn't expect.
So how do you feel about your life now going forward? How do you feel about the future?
It's just going to it's great right now, and it's just going to keep getting better and better.
So this is awesome for you because you have the psychology background. You use the words, I was clinically depressed. So I'm saying after you experience what you experience, do you really believe in depression?
No.
In the way you were taught?
No. Depression was a muscle that I worked out a lot.
Yeah. And with that muscle being worked out, all of a sudden, voila, ta-da, depression doesn't exist anymore.
So I stopped working out the depression muscle, and I started working out lots of other much more beneficial muscles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Exactly. Yeah. And so therefore, it's no different than having atrophied muscles that you never work out. So you just did now you did what you had to do. Now you're good.
Yes. And it's not a magic trick.
Yeah, no, definitely not a magic trick.
There's rock solid, as you and I both know, rock solid science, fucking brain science behind this.
I usually don't jump on things when I first hear them. For example, your program, I looked at your emails probably every day for 6 months. 6 months before I wanted to know, how much is this going to cost? What is this? Is this guy for real? And I did some Google searches on. Eventually, I felt like I need to get myself together here, and that's when I went ahead and gave you the call. Well, eventually I did end up giving you a call, and I'm glad that I did. And I've stuck with the program since day one.
You said, Lance, I want someone who is going to take me beyond the finish line, take me to the finish line, someone who's going to get me there.
That's why I was looking for somebody else to be more of a coach, and not just to read books, because I'd already done that. So that's when I came across your program, And after watching you over and over and reading some of the things, felt like, yeah, I think this might be worth taking a chance on. I mean, everything's a gamble. You take risks, and you take calculated risks, and it was a calculated risk because it wasn't cheap. Not that I can't afford it, but even for me, it's an investment. And so there's no guarantees on an investment. You're taking a little bit of a risk. Some are less risky than others, but I felt like on balance it was worth the risk, and I took it, and I'm glad I did. Well, there's a lot of parts to what you put into your presentation, and some will appeal to some people, some will appeal to another. And for me, when you went into the neuroplasticity thing, that somehow triggered something in my mind. Yes, of course this works. This is how you develop, brain patterns over time. And some of the reading that I had done about how to form habits, etc., also kicked in, and I realized, okay, we're forming a habit here, a set of habits that are going to become part of who you are. Even from the first time we talked, I was impressed by your confidence. And that has a lot to do with inspiring confidence in others. You were very confident that you could be helpful, even from the very first time that we spoke on the phone before I even signed up for the program. And it was pretty obvious to me, you've done this for some time, you've practiced this, you have a program that you know in and out, and you're not starting out with me. You've gone through this with many other people.
I just got dumped, and it was like, I can't go through this. I'm not going to live life like this. I can't let this person control me or this situation control me. I need to get over this, and I need to do it now, because I was so devastated. I was so devastated, and I didn't think I could get through it. And then you came in. It was perfect timing when I saw that Facebook ad. It was like it was meant for me. And so I knew that I needed to do this, and I wasn't going to, I didn't want to go through this anymore. The pain was just unbearable. And what your program did for me was, not only did I get over this person, I'm so happy that he found her. It was like a blessing. Sometimes I'll look on their Facebook and I'm like, oh my God, they look good together. I didn't belong with him. And I'm like so happy for them, like literally. And this is the person that broke my heart.
Isn't that amazing? Like, again, people think I'm like crazy that they see him now. Like, would you have ever thought, before you and I spoke, would you ever thought you would actually feel like that? Were you actually grateful and you actually appreciate me? Like, what? I'm glad they found each other. You never saw that one coming, did you?
No, I never did. I kept thinking, is he going to come back, or what can I do? And in this process, I found myself. It's like if my mind, I was asleep, and there was like, this woke me up. This pain, going through this woke me up.
I would spend months mourning the loss of the relationship. Now it's like, whatever. I feel like I'm the prize. And if
you are.
And if that person can't see that, then that's their loss. And I'm perfectly fine. Like, I don't need anybody to validate me. I validate my own self. If you would have told me back then that I would be feeling this way now, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd have been like, yeah, right. But yeah, here I am. And I feel awesome. I feel awesome. Money well spent. Would do it again in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Well, I had suffered from depression for about 20 years, and I tried everything, all the medication, talk therapy, art therapy, herbal supplements, ketamine, TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation. Okay. Nothing was working. And
I was aware of that. Okay.
Yeah, I thought that everything was solved when I met a man who I thought made me very happy. And but that was all an illusion. He was the one setting up my success in that. I wasn't doing that. And so when he left, my world crumbled, and I was in despair for 2 years. And I was planning on committing suicide the week that I found your information. And I thought, well, this would be my last shot. I have nothing else to lose, so I'm going to give it a shot. And it completely changed my life. Yeah, I guess I was initially still kind of nervous. The money was a little bit of a concern for me, but the more I thought about it, and I thought about all the money that I had spent on all the therapy and all the medications and all the other alternative therapies, and it just didn't get anywhere. Plus, what was my money going to be worth if I wasn't here anyway?
Not a lot.
And
Not a lot. Yeah.
so I just said, it's time to really invest in myself. And this is something that I did for me. And I would have paid double.
I really wish that I would have had this process like when I was in the Marine Corps or even getting out of the military, with the whole diagnosis of PTSD and anxiety and depression and all this other stuff. Yeah, so I mean, it's not just, I don't think it's anybody that's just specifically going through relationship issues.
No, not at all. Anyone who's emotionally out of whack, unbalanced, living too much in the emotions of stress around the emotions you should feel, it's really for anyone. Like, I mean, long term, this should be something that everybody does.
Yeah, this would be really great in the military.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be, but unfortunately, the military is probably not going to sponsor my trainings.
Yeah,
so that's okay. That's okay. Maybe 10 years. We'll see. All right. So here's the bad news. I got some good news for you. I got some bad news for you. The good news is you understand why your way's not been working. You understand why that counselor, that coach you've been working with, who doesn't commit to anything, is still keeping you on the couch with absolutely no results. And you finally understand why you keep sabotaging things. When you feel like crap, you speak like crap. When you feel like crap, you make bad decisions. It doesn't matter what you know. It matters what you can do. If you can't control your emotions, you know nothing. Now, to strengthen your physical muscles is a very similar experience to strengthening your emotional muscles. To strengthen your physical muscles, you can't just read about bench pressing 300 pounds. You can't read about it. You can't talk about it. You can't complain to your counselor about it. You would need the actual workout. So here's the bad news. You learned why your way's not working. You don't actually have my workout. You don't actually have anything. You haven't learned anything from this webinar. The whole point of this webinar is to make you understand why your way has not worked. And like I said, you really have a choice now. You can keep doing these band-aids and nonsense, just half-assed ways of doing things. You say, you know what? If I want to strengthen my emotions, doesn't it make sense to actually learn a process to strengthen them and actually address that from the emotional core? Because as of right now, listen very carefully, you've only learned why your way is not working. Do not think for a second you can leave this webinar and go get the kind of results you see from my videos. I only taught you why your way is not working. You do not know the step-by-step refocus process I teach to resurrect people from the fucking ashes. To get the results you want and to experience the way you feel, within 72 hours, you will actually need to learn my step-by-step 30-minute refocus process that you do not know. Otherwise, you know what happens? Your emotions get the better of you, you say crappy things. The emotions get the better of you, you now have to take time off from work. Otherwise, you will continue to suffer and struggle. It's just like, again, think about it from a common sense standpoint. You're going to find out the reason why. There's a very good reason why the people you go to for your healing come to me for their strengthening. If you never worked out your entire life, you'd have small muscles, right? And if you never worked out your entire life, obviously you'd be susceptible and vulnerable to hurting yourself if you overextended. The only way to prevent that is to strengthen ahead of time. So if you want that actual strengthening process, that's why you're going to want to speak to me. If you really are sick and tired of getting your hand burned on the hot emotional stove, sabotaging your relationship, sabotaging your life, not feeling very great, you're going to need to know that 30-minute process, and that's why you're going to book a call with me. The 30-minute process is the workout to get the results. That's what I teach. And that's what we'll discuss in the call, how to get this process. They'll resurrect you from the fucking ashes so you can feel what you're really capable of. I am a different kind of personal trainer, and I am going to bring you to a different kind of gym, but you do need that actual specific workout. So bottom line is this, quote, free call is free. It is certainly not a freebie. It is only available to you if you are serious about investing in yourself now. This is not for people who are curious. This is not for people trying to get freebies. It's free. It's not a freebie. Only book this call if you are serious about investing in yourself now. If you have not had enough time, your hand on the hot stove, if you've not had enough disappointment and failure and hurting, then keep doing what you're doing. This is for people that are sick and tired of feeling like crap. So the whole point of the call is to discuss how my 30-minute process can address your specific situation and transform your life now and permanently. Let me make sure this is clear here. This is a true one and done. Unlike your counselor or coach, I don't hold on to you forever. I teach you a process. I work with you for a relatively short period of time. You use this process, you grow with this process, you evolve with this process, and you benefit from it for life. Try to get that kind of reassurance from your counselor or coach. But if you're not even willing to consider enrolling in my program, then scheduling a call would be a complete waste of each other's time. At the end of the day, that's what I teach, a step-by-step conditioning, strengthening process to get the results like you see in my videos on my YouTube page. 3 days can make a much bigger difference than you think. And make no mistake, not even Tony or Joe can showcase what I can in this specific area. I honestly believe for you all watching this video here who really want to feel better, you would literally have to be a glutton for punishment to keep trying to do this by yourself or work with some kind of half-assed coach. Unlike any other coach or counselor who makes kind of bold claims, I can actually prove it. Go on my YouTube channel. You will not see anyone on planet Earth that can match what I can. Go to youtube.com/Lance McKell. Again, you would literally have to be a glutton for punishment to keep trying to do this by yourself here. Go to refocusonhappiness.com. What you want to do is you want to click the button at the top, contact Lance. Very, very easy form. When you go there, you'll see you put your name, your last name, your email address, and your phone number. And I will get in touch with you in just a few days, okay? Again, Steve Martin has a great phrase. He says, be so good at what you do, people cannot ignore you. If you scroll down, you'll see testimonials from psychologists, doctors, zillions and zillions and zillions of past clients, including medical directors, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, I'm making this so obvious for you, what I represent for you, what I believe. The only reason you would not do this is if you're a glutton for punishment. So yeah, feel free to take a good look around. Again, I'm gonna make it very clear what I represent for you if this is something you're serious about.